Alright, so here's the B-2 Spirit. This was a model designed by Jayson Merrill. You can find it in his origami book, the Stealth Aircraft Origami. What I did here was I just Sharpied one side of it, and then I just Sharpied the top once I finished folding it, so I didn't have to do the whole bottom of it. So if we take a look, it has landing gear, 2 air intakes, very nice geometry, and sloped fuselage. So this is a pretty complex model, but if you're pretty good, then you should have no trouble folding it. You will need an 11 by 11 sheet of any paper you want. I'd say go for less than 20 pounds, of course. I'm using foil paper for this, and this one was made using foil paper. It's okay if you Sharpie both sides of it. It works pretty well. All right. So again, you would need 11 by 11. You want to fold these creases for what would be this, so it'll be around here, smeared at that intersection right there. So just and it will also line up with that intersection as well. Now what you want to do is make a rabbit ear fold on any side really, so just grab these creases and these creases sometimes are hard to align. You want to fold up on this one and fold all the way down to those points, and then flatten it accordingly so that it goes up here. I recommend folding much neater than I am right now, but for now that's how it is. Alright, now what you want to do is make several creases. So here are some. No, you don't need to fold the back layer. Alright, so what you want to do here is you want to push this center up and swing the sides up. I'll show you what that looks like. You need to first pop this section out, so I recommend going in the model and pushing this section out. And be sure when you're doing this, when you're here, you have this layer, and you want to make sure this is down. So this doesn't have all the creases, this does. So there's only one unseparable part here, while there's this flap here. So just make sure you have that first. So you pop the center up and you basically make this pyramid, kind of, and then squish the sides together. So once you're right here, what you want to do is you want to fold these like this, and make sure that these are separate. So you can fold those together. You want to have this popped up and push this in. And it will fold back on this as well. Like this. And then this will come back. And then you will notice you will have these edges, they might sink in, and make sure that they're popped out like this. So you'll end up with some of these edges. So it should start looking like this. Just be careful of these layers behind the section you popped up. It should start looking like this. And then line the model. Oh, in the front you will also have the same thing as this back flap. And then it should look like this. Before you flatten it all the way, make sure that these come to a perfect, instead of something like that, you want it to be like that. And then pinch it, make sure everything's flat. So I would open this up and align those creases. And this tends to happen because it's not perfect. It's gonna make not a perfect 180 degree or just a flat angle, but do your best. What you want to do is fold these tips to that point right there. these will help with a fold later on in the tutorial. So right now these we're not really going to use them. We'll see it's for like kind of like a crimp or something. Now what you want to do is squash fold this, I believe. I think you do this. Be careful for the already formed creases. They're not perfect unless you took more precaution, which I highly recommend. It just takes a lot of time. So this is similar to what you did in the beginning. This tends to happen. Try fixing it. Sometimes it doesn't even fold up right on this crease right here. I made that look difficult. It's actually really easy. Just be careful whenever you fold. Now what you want to do is swivel this over. Actually, I believe we need to rearrange the paper a little. So you want to fold it back, grab this edge, and you want to wrap it around a little. Just a little, so that it looks like that. And once you flatten it, it should look like that. So I just popped out that edge right there. Just a disclaimer, some very minor folds have been slightly modified because the book was a little unclear, but I can't really blame Mr. Jayson for that, because it's not easy making diagrams, I'm sure of it. Very minor details though. So what we want to do now is close sync this corner right here. I recommend folding it first. I recommend opening this up because it's pretty much impossible to close sync something that's like this. It's gonna be a messy close sync if you're not using like origami paper. I think origami paper will work for this model, but I'm using full paper. I recommend using full paper for a final model. It always holds things together very well, even if sinks aren't its strongest ability. This will be the air intake, so that's why it's a pocket. Now what you want to do here is you want to fold from that base point straight up, and you'll notice this edge will like exceed that point right there. Like that. This tends to be stupid like that. You will have to adjust this crease based on that if you want it to line up really well. I'm not sure which way I should be doing it. Like if I close it like that, then this edge does that. It's misaligned. Don't worry about that too much. And now you want to repeat the process to this side. It's just this edge right here. So again, for this crease, you might want to, I recommend swiveling it down a little bit, but just a little. Now you want to do it's kind of a complex fold a little bit, but first we have to make the pre-creases. Let's see if I remember this. All right, you want to swivel this over like that. And then do that for this as well. So it's a little uneven because I was rushing the pre-creases a little bit, which I do not recommend at all. It's important that you get the base right. What you want to do is open sync this. And you don't want to sink this corner in. You actually want to leave it out like so. Be a little careful there with the creases. Should have this pattern underneath. And make sure that this is right here doesn't pop up, stays down like that. And this will be the fuselage. It's a little interesting and very difficult to shape. Be careful while folding this down. want to fold along these hidden edges like that. So just overlap with that. It should also meet an intersection at this diagonal crease on the air intakes, or at least very close. Okay, now this is a little tricky, but you want to pull this bottom flap out like this. So this is the part that I modified a little because it's kind of tricky to figure out what's going on in the actual book. I think you don't really have to do that much. So you pull this out and don't flatten it. You want to have this edge go down. It should go pretty flat. Yeah, so what you want to do is when you pull this down, you want to stretch this out, and you want to make sure that this goes all the way up. So you need to rearrange this crease like that. I think this is the easiest way I found. I tampered with it for a while, but so it should look kind of like this when you're done. So I recommend just opening it up and making this extend all the way up, and it has this kind of pattern with it. Don't mind this edge right here. And then you just fold the whole thing back down. Without this part. Alright, now what you want to do is, I think we open sync this, so fold this down like this. This is a little tricky. I cannot get inside the model, so what you're gonna do is, what I did was, I forgot what this is called. I spread squashed it and then arranged it in a way that would be the same as an open sync. There probably is some way you can get inside the model, make it a lot easier. But if you spread squash it and then fold these edges back up, then it will basically just be an open sync, but not performed like an open sync. Don't crease these edges, you don't need them. So if you fold these back up like this, then you can see that's just an open sync. I believe we have to fold these behind edges in. I'm not sure which ones. I recommend I'll just fold this. Oh, sometimes if you close sync incorrectly or correctly, I'm not sure which one's which, to be honest. This can be free, and this can be locked. And we'll find out what that will do later, because I believe it does something, but I don't remember what. Alright, now these creases that I made earlier, like this, alright, go into that point that we made there. What you will do with them is use them as a pretty much a reference point. So what you're gonna do is, you see how we, remember when we push these up? What we wanna do is grab them and wait. You want to grab them and you want to fold along this crease going across that we made earlier. And then kind of reflect that. So do that on the other side. It's a crimp fold. Now, what you're gonna do in order to flatten it, first you want to push these flaps up from forward and behind. And you want to bring that down while this gets pushed up. So basically, these cannot bend down. Like, remember we talked about those layers? Those cannot bend up. They have to remain in place, but this has to come down. So it's like that. So you grab the point and you just do that. Now, if you want to flatten it, you would have to use the creases that I was just talking about earlier as a reference point. So here are the creases. You want to make them parallel to the center, and this is not going to be a perfect 90-degree angle. It's not going to be perpendicular. It's going to be slightly angled, and this has to be parallel. So this crease right here, it's a little faint. That crease has to be parallel to the center. So again, we folded this side up, and the other side is kind of mirrored because it's a crimp, and then we make sure that this gets pulled down. Hold up, let me align this real quick. Alright, so should look something like this. And make sure that these creases stay point, but that will change. That'll be the awkward one, kind of. And once everything's lined up, you want to flatten it. Do that to this side. So if that was confusing, then I'll make it a repeat. So you pull this down, but you want to make sure that these two flaps, the one in front and the one behind that's attached to this, that they stay flat along the edge. So like that. And it goes all the way down to that point in the inside. And then what we want to do at the same time is with this crease that goes across, you want to fold along it on both sides, front and back. Make sure they're not grouped together. They're actually separate from each other. As I said, they were kind of like mirrored. And like I said, you want to use this crease as a reference point. Make that parallel to the center. I don't believe that was specified in the book, so it might have been kind of like a judgment fold to you guys. For those that have the book. It still is either way, but different ways. No, that's close enough. We want to make sure that these creases right here don't swivel, so you want to flatten it, and it should have some excess paper like that. And don't let it swivel back. Like, don't let any other creases do that. You want to make this your kind of like guideline after you solidify those creases, so that the rest of the creases can follow along. And on the other side, you should have something like this. Right, now what you want to do is fold these edges a little inside. Talking about these ones, these tend to be locked in with like believe a closed sink made earlier. It's a little difficult, but I think you can just unfold that for now and then pull this paper out a little, and then you can fold it in and put it back. But these are just very small details. It's hard to follow along with the instructions. So you just want to fold something like that for both sides. Make sure it comes to a point right here. That's definitely not going to turn out perfect. You can just do whatever for that. And then fold back these creases. I'm sure there's a way you can separate these. I did it before, but right there. I might just pull this paper out and then fold it in like this. This is a little annoying, but you just have to deal with it. Something like that should work. Should be a lot easier than that, but it is what it is. All right. Now, Alright, now you have you want to bring this crease up to this line and make sure it goes straight up. It might not, this crease itself might not be perfect, but it should be good enough for a guide. I'll be using the book from here. Alright, I'm gonna fold so that this top point reaches that point. Now what you want to do is take these flaps and you want to fold fold this inner flap to the middle. If possible. You fold it this way actually. I usually would fold a lot better. I recommend doing that. Now you want to mount and fold this edge in, and this will want to swivel this out as well. or whatever you call that. You want to swing this paper out. I'll pretty much naturally do that either way. I want to make sure that this doesn't accidentally swivel out or anything. So you're basically folding from that point to this bottom point. Just squash fold these over. It should look something like this. Alright, so this part is a little weird. But since there's this back layer attached to the struts, it will be a little bit weird of orientation. It probably will tear if you don't pay attention to it. So just be careful with that. And what you want to do is fold this edge in I'm not sure how that would work. It's very interesting. You can just do that and it'll work just fine. So yeah, some of these folds aren't exactly what the book says, but it took some time for me to figure them out, and to be honest, I don't remember what I did. It should ideally look like this, not that. Now, this actually should be separated. Wait, let me figure out what to do with these creases. So actually you don't want that. So just unfold that. Sorry about this. Fold these edges backwards. I believe that's what you should be doing. So just fold these edges backwards as the model. Sorry if it goes off screen. Oh shoot. Rip rock. Ideally, they should have been separate, but I'm just gonna fold this like this. So now it should look like this. Alright, so after this, what you want to do, alright, sorry about that, what you want to do is just fold this inside, you know, if I have the time, I'll revise this video and actually make something that's a bit more accurate, because this is not what I did for this model right here. I didn't do any of this. Just want to fold the strut down. Something like that should be fine. Alright, so what you want to do, let me see if this is right. Okay, so what I want to do is fold on. I'm not sure if this is pre-existing. Alright, you want to fold. If you look inside the model, you can see there's a point right there where a lot of creases go to. You want to fold from this tip to that, as well as for the other side, of course, to that intersection on the inside. So it should look like this. Let me see. All right. You might need to reform some creases if they swivel over. Should be like that. Right. So it should look something like this, hopefully a lot neater. I recommend flipping the model over and making more creases just a bit more solid. I recommend that this goes to a very fine point, or like outstretched, I don't know what you want to call it. Alright. Now what you want to do is fold this down, not to this edge, along the back. So it should look like that. I think we might have to leave that at the bottom, like this layer right here. This goes over, or could be the other way around. I'll just do it the other way around. You want this layer in the middle to be on the top side when making the inside reverse fold. Now you want to put this under one of these two layers, it doesn't really matter. I recommend that this comes to a much finer point because it's important to the shaping of the model. I'm sorry for being a bit confusing throughout the video. I didn't fold this model in a little while. It's been a while since I made that one. Alright. Should look something like this. And what we want to do is fold from this point, not this one slightly above, but just fold from wherever this starts all the way, basically, I don't know what it's called, just above here. Just make a straight line. It should be a rabbit ear fold, but whatever. It just gets messed up. So just do something like this. Alright, so we have most of the thing done. What we want to do is fold this upwards like this. Alright, insert reverse fold from this point right here to there. Alright, now what we want to do is fold these wings down. Right about there. You should be looking at something like this. And what we want to do is pull this fuselage out. And the ideal way to shape this would be with tweezers. You just want to round it. Before we shape it, we want to take that completely out and collapse the model again. And then fold this back. Now, I recommend, so it doesn't do that, you want to just stretch this out. So, see how the plane would naturally do that, and then you want to do that so it's relatively flat. Just do that until it's right. Now what you want to do is round this, fold these back. You want to round the fuselage and the engines and push this front part of it inside just a little, but we're gonna shape the fuselage first. It would and should look a lot prettier than this, but and just do whatever you can. And then what you want to do is once you shape it to your liking, you want to push this down, and right about here, instead of like the fuselage being shaped like, sorry, it's a little tricky. If you notice, if you move those out of the way, there's these parts, pretty much like this part's attached to the fuselage. You can kind of like squash fold them a little so it stays a little more flat. Just find a way so it like stays down like that, and then you can start shaping. Now, I'm not gonna do the whole shaping because it takes a little while to make it all perfect, but what you want to do is just bend this and fold it like this. It doesn't have to be a sharp crease at all, and you want this to lay on top like this. So it should be looking like this, but rounder in the front. And of course, shape your engines. So technically, it should be flat. And then you round them. Do it until it's right. This is just for the sake of the video. Actually, wait. You should fold the back edges of this inside a little, like this. So just fold from that point down. It kind of helps to lock in place a little better. So just should look like that. And then, yeah, that should definitely hold the engine in place a lot better. Now, if you're wondering, Sharpie does actually work on the foil side if you're using foil paper. Now, for the last part, we're gonna do the landing struts. So for the landing gear, what you want to do is just pull this front strut forward and just like swivel this down a little. It should look like this. Now I don't recommend that it's that large. I recommend for it to be a lot smaller, so you can kind of like move this forward almost, like push down on this and move it forward. This is not the landing strut, so what I did was I kind of like reverse folded this on top and put this under this, or over it actually, but doesn't matter. It's just kind of offending myself by folding this like this. This is one of the only models that doesn't incorporate a jet fold. You can find out how to orient the these with the fuselage, but do that yourself. You can figure that out. It's pretty easy. Now you just want to like inside reverse fold this, so you can just do something like this. You know, pretty self-explanatory. It should work just fine, right? And it's pretty much done. Just shape it a lot more than I did and actually do something about this. In the future, I might revise this and make a new video, but for now, that's what it is. It's like 95% of it. So, yeah, enjoy.